Welcome to the opening event in our spring 2024 season, which will include 2 programs guest curated and introduced, thank God, by Tango Eisen-Martin, a series of Grow Your Poetry bookshop celebrations curated by James Fraser, featuring John Yao, Fanny Howe, Robert Pinsky, Lloyd Schwartz, Gail Mazer, plus a pop-up exhibit back there of rare Elsa Dorfman photographs, courtesy of her husband, Harvey Silvergate, and a focus on activism, getting us ready for this coming fall. We can't start too soon. Beginning with a reading and listening session next week with Erin Murray, focused on queer poetries and exploring the myriad activisms of Muriel Rukeyser. Continuing with a reading by Nicole Seeley and Layli Long Soldier, introduced by Keith Jones, and an oral history with Will Alexander, and ending with an evening with Nikki Giovanni, who will be honoring us at the Harvard Art Museum with a reading and screening of the recent Oscar long-listed documentary, Going to Mars. Tonight is the first time we've had a chance to gather since learning of the loss of Lynn Haginian and Penelope Creeley. And so I wanted to, let me let some humans in the room. Please feel free to sit up front here. We're kind of congregating on the floor if you're comfortable with that, but it's entirely up to you. So I just might start again, but I just wanted to say that we haven't had a chance to meet since Lynn Haginian and Penelope Creeley passed away. Both died within the last week. And so I wanted to take a moment to dedicate this reading to them. Both were world makers who gave rise in their works and or lives to inimitable participatory structures and means of meeting, ways of breaching our each otherness, while still respecting, even reveling in, the generative differences, boundaries, and provocations of each being. Pen was the embodiment of hospitality, was fearless in her invitations, always showing me and others the unseen portals standing in our way. She was also fiercely insightful and almost solar in her capacity to elicit. She inhabited a life grounded in trust, reciprocity, and a deep ease that allowed all manner of people and creatures, including Jack, the gargantuan Irish wolfhound, to congregate and find solace, joy, and unconditional reception in her presence. Lynn, too, was one who believed in our art form as a force of meeting and in our lives as being collecting experiences, and that each artist contributes to and partakes of, she says, constellations of the real, that cultural standards, narrative givens, she inserts, and etc., in which you can insert whatever you like, can't make sense of or even perceive. She bathed in adjacencies, in chance, in encounter, and in our nextness to each other, which we are exhibiting tonight, down to the level of Lynn's parataxis, in which no one line or sentence took precedence over the other. She tried to articulate and embody equally valued being in this world. I'm skipping because I was going to give an award to a human who is not in this room, so we'll let that be a mystery. So that's a big, see? Yeah. Okay, and now to tonight's event, Boston Originals, which seeks to document some of the most vital and innovative work emerging from and intersecting with New England at this time. Boston Originals is a series we founded as a way to honor literary Boston, not as a Brahmin city on a hill, but as a site of meeting and of passage, of inhabitants and visitants, a place that is concentered on the commotions of the sea and on study. How's that for a rhyme? And what is study but what Fred Moten and Stefano Harvey have described as, quote, what people do together, walking and talking. I should add that Fred and Stefano's friendship was formed in part in this room as undergraduates, and we hope that other friendships are generated here tonight. And by here, I don't just mean this room, but the real location of this reading, which is poetry itself. As Inger Christensen once said, quote, poetry is a place where things are put into action, into relationship, encompassing all zones and degrees of relationship, abstract, concrete and complex, primary and secondary, central and peripheral. Mystical, she said. For me, this series doesn't define Boston, it releases it from its definitions, as these authors themselves so boldly do for our art form. The bios of our esteemed guests are in your program, and now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Carolina Ebeid, Shangyang Fang, Elisa Gabbert, Christianne Goodwin, Karl and Patrick Pritchett. We are largely doing alpha order, but one of our authors is delayed, so on the T. Surprise.
Here.
Oh my gosh!
I'm here.
Oh. Hey, the T, I don't know. I spoke too soon. So we will obey one kind of order in this room. That's the only order we're going to obey, which is alphabetical. Beyond that, disorder rules. Carolina, it's an honor. I should say we go way back into our New York days to a workshop at Lucy Brock-Bordeaux's in her apartment at Columbia. So it's just so moving to have you here today.
It's wonderful to be gathered in this room. It really does feel warm. Everyone was warning me about it. I feel it from everyone here. We are those who love to be astonished, like Lynn Heginian said. And thank you, Christina, for the invitation. So many friends in this room. Thank you, Fanny Howe, for being. Palestine, the metaphor. Palestine, the metaphor, says to me, I'll not Palestine, the future country, not Palestine, the vehicle, holy, almost holy. I'll not theater the Palestine, not otherwise it, nor tempest it green and black and red and black and ash and black war. I'll not war. Palestine is not a war. No 6-day victor come, no 7th day, its waste of daffodils. Disambiguation of Maria. Ask her if she is cold. Ask her if she needs to hide. Fold her into a rectangle and slip her into your breast pocket. She will record the auditory data regarding the condition of the heart. Mother dreaming, mother turning into sleep, mother changing the channel, mother turning underwater. M mostly becomes sunflower head bending down. Here, the here-ness of memory, mostly touchable, mother becomes mostly asymmetrical, a visitant. In Arabic, mir is bitter and iam is sea. Silhouette of crushed lipstick and mum petals. I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid I was naked, so I hid. I was naked because I was afraid, I said to myself. Vox gone hidden in the imbecile garden. In the traffic, I hid me. Fear smells mineral, petroleum, sumac, rain-lustered. I drink the drams from its awe-silvered limbs. I heard your voice, purpling like bellies of Peruvian blues at various depths in soil, away from. Artificial lights, how they leave the leafy night looking icy in unfinished colors. I heard you say magenta, 3 syllables swarming out the voice box. The swarm brings back no mauvish, cyan, crimson to your sightline, but some TV snow. A needle dragging skin dust along the vinyl grooves. Music acquires you in iotas. As static, I heard you whirring round, the vinyl dark, round and round. Adrenaline alters the hide hair. I was afraid of the paradise in my ear. To be murmured into a jar and stored on a shelf. Silhouetta for the feeling of in front of. Silhouetta for the feeling of during, of upon here, a beneath. Silhouetta for alongside. Silhouetta for instead of. Silhouetta for the feeling of in spite of. Silhouetta for nevertheless. Silhouetta for insofar as. Silhouetta for among them. You must stop in front of the tree because it has memorized something about radiance. In truth, without question, it looks like its branches have caught green flames, phenomenologically speaking. The tree is named at the end of the day. The evening sun behind you hits the top branches so that you look up at the end of the day. Its drama seems louder than it would at a different hour. You feel sorry for, at the end of the day, habitually reaching towards the practical conclusion. You climb up, at the end of the day, its system of leaf rhythm. You climb up into that femme imagination. The leaves flicker, whisper, wisp, wisp as moths in a room. Beatific vision requires elevation, writes Atel Adnan. Knowledge won't need the figure of a tree anymore. Data analysis will form radial geometries, nets, clouds, flowcharts, bursts of. This is from a chapbook called A Dour Wonder. Take this word, appall, and grow pale with it. Pall, perhaps from pellis skin, wear an altar cloth, coffin cover. Cover your open mouth. Put your phone in the air, videos of the body wrapped in cloth under flowers, Shirin Abu Akleh, over shoulders, repetitiousness of corpses, processions wailing, public mourning, phones in the air, hand-covered mouths. You have to use the telepathy machine, feelings as artifacts. You have to use the channel O for an ancestor to pass through, yawn her up from the white space, in alphanumeric names, their cambered Arabic numerals, a Semitic pneumatic, a Numen. Emerge the blank out of the blank. Emerge information out of the sound. Emerge the sound out of the child. Emerge the child out of a miracle. Emerge the miracle out of a burning car. Emerge the burning car out of music. Emerge the music out of sleep. Emerge sleep out of the throat. Emerge the throat out of the possibility. I think I'll stop there with that word, possibility.
Can I get a glass of water before I
Yes,
start?
sorry.
So sorry.
We were running here after class.
I just traveled back to Boston today. Taught a whole day of classes, ended at 5:30. And sorry I'm late, and God bless my savior, the red line tea. The first poem I'm going to read is an ekphrasis, an ekphrastic poem. It has a special meaning to me because it's the first poem I wrote when I visited Boston as a student. And it's a poem I wrote at the Boston MFA. Next time if you go, let's see if you can find the painting. And it's a painting about Icarus. And there are too many poems about Icarus already. W.H. Auden, Carlos Williams, and they're great. So it's just, yes. And I was so afraid of over-exploiting the theme. But then I thought, it was my birthday that day. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to write a poem about Icarus. Foretaste of disaster. Young, therefore vain and wingless, he lets his father tie a blue thread around his chest. It is before the famous tragedy, the fall, before the imminent sea. The coast still composed of in subdued hues and regimented patterns. The abstraction of waves has yet to be mutilated by a scream, human position yet to be tested. He, at his prime, Anthony Van Dyck, blazing like an overripe Flemish peach, presented this self-portrait in which an old man tethers a wing to a young man's pale, well-knit back. Here, grief has yet to be visible, as in Bruegel's stick out of the water, legs white as boiled chicken. In his early 20s, Icarus, the trespasser or cross-dresser, was punished for his pride. In his early 20s, Van Dyck portrayed himself as Icarus in a painting in front of which I stand looking him in the eyes. Tomorrow, I will be a quarter of century old. My father disappeared like an antelope into the dawning gold. But if and when Icarus survived his drowning, stepping out of the sea as if out of a Cavafy poem, dripping with synonyms of passion and desire, who will untie the blue thread from his chest? Who will save me, come to change my life? Sorry, I'm shaking out of exhaustion and excitement, like high on it, almost. Training. A psychologist told me we can train our dreams. I practice each night, recite my father's name. And he is a dog running in and out of a field of grass, and I, the loosened chain, stained with the sweat of his neck. The mere thief. Staying at a person's house without the person present is what a thief does. A profession to take without permission, to be with no possession, a persimmon turning sweet like a peach. All fruits, the same desire, a gesture of lure that the gone master uses to bait guests. Expression without volition, to be touched. The thief enters, sets aside his gloves to peel persimmons. The way he peels a slant of evening light, it is all too late. The fruit is not a certain bait, the thief's hand a gesture of cast away. Taking away a thing that is not there doesn't make it stealing. The firm fruit on the canvas of dark blue, of mind's deep sorrow, a song that asks the longing of a fruit to replace the fruit. Imagine this thief, now a boy with smudged face, stepping inside that blueness, hanging his small body like a clean shirt to the same railing, a skeleton dream to take apart, to put together a skyline in blue, distant, defined against sky where roofs waltz like an ever-departing sea, ever returning. So blue, it could be swallowed like a pill. In such blueness, who dreams of me? Will his dream damage me? What's left for imagination is what stays forgotten. A thief took away the persimmon. What remains, the boy once peeled, the alloy of some unspeakable tenderness. Sorry, I have to drink. My reading will take 8 minutes and 34 seconds according to the Google speech time calculator. It's very helpful. I use it every time. Through the darkness of night, find me through the darkness. I am here, I promise. Find me through the night. I am here, I promise. The same darkness, the stark attendance of stars above the water. I am here in the darkness. Find me, I promise. And this is the last poem. It is half in Chinese. I'm from China. English is my second language. And this is half in Chinese and half in English. Parts of it is just onomatopoeia in Chinese. Honglong is the sound of thunder. Di-di-da-da is the rain stitching a bell jar or the clock remembering its days as a clepsydra. Putong is the sound of a man stumbling, and ha-ha-ha-ha is the laughter that chases after. Ling-ling-lang-lang is the water sword whacking the Kwangdang-chang-chang jade pendants of cold rocks. Sa-sa-sa-sa is the west wind, and pu-pu-su-su is the falling leaves that xiao-xiao-pian-pian with an autumn moon. In fact, su-su is the sound of all soft things falling. The tears, su-su, on the face. The snow, su-su. The begonia, su-su, on the mahogany bone of a folding fan. Su-su, the brushstroke paints the rice paper into a landscape of black mountains. Ling-ling-tong-tong, the rivers flow where the inked mountain is not depicted, flow in the uncharted whiteness. The boat strings cao-cao like blizzard, the fine strings cheer-cheer like murmur, the melody of a girl playing pipa on the orchid boat back in the Tang Dynasty, which we still hear through Bai Juyi's poetry. If the river could speak, would the mountain understand its utterance? The sound of a frog is gua gua gua, which is annoying. If you cannot stand the gua gua gua, please put the frog into a boiler. The hard part, try not to mourn the frog. The sound of the autumn moon is 寻寻觅觅, 冷冷清清, 凄凄惨惨戚戚, which is also the 点点滴滴 sorrow of Li Qingzhao. Because to mourn the frog, one must speak in the language of frog, which is to gua gua gua. Shi Wei is the evanescent light of a lantern. Wrong, Shi Wei is the swan's down evening, a girl calling her beloved. Why don't you come back, come back? In truth, Shi Wei is Wang Wei writing a poem to the shadow of his leaving friend who promised to come back with a sprig of magnolia to light up the yard. His poem has the sound of clouds spread low on the moving water. The lamplight threads a dim song across the voice of trees that can only be heard by insects and birds. 关关节节拥拥隐隐嗷嗷凄凄肃肃立立 are the sounds of birds. 轰轰摇摇会会啼啼周啾寥寥 are the sounds of insects. Pili pala are the firecrackers bumping into the air. Jili gulu is the mouse stealing oil falling from the chair. Yo yo the deer sings. Xiao xiao the horse chases the wind. Xi xi li li the knuckles of rain knocking windows of a departed train. 知了 is the cicada chirping its name. 知了 bu gu is the cuckoo calling itself. Bugu, cuckoo, cuckoo, bugu. For us, the petals fall with no sound. For the fire ants, the petals hit the ground with a sound as loud as thunder, which is honglong. But what is the ant's onomatopoeia for the thunder and falling flowers? What is the petals onomatopoeia for the wind that brings forth its own falling? Still, we keep hearing the hiss of white, yellow, and blue petals scattered in a bowl bitten by the ant's bitter teeth. Shilili, 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 the rain. Honolong, 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 the thunder. Thank you for having me.
There's a chair. John?
Come on, Maureen.
John,
John's being back in.
Hi. Hi. It's so nice to be here. I went to graduate school in Boston 20 years ago, which means I've been doing this, like reading poems in rooms for 20 years, or about half my life. Still weirdly get nervous sometimes. Not predictable. I'm going to be reading some newish poems. They're all 16 lines long. The day, the poem, the life. The day arrives first through the skylights, a myopic fog in the air somewhere between my eyes and God's. The slow negotiation the day is has details that only appear as I see them. This improvised lie needs more surprises, needs some of that vertiginous contingency, the what if that rattles the deathbed. I have rescued some self for that voyage, but what if? What if I never did lie there? What if I die before my death? The poem fails if the day is not in it. Some bit of its weather, its key, as told by the ginkgo leaves. The weather holds time, exquisite information. Life is not a dream like a scene in a novel I'll never forget. I mean, it happened to me, and I will forget. It's that kind of dream. If the poem fails, it fails to save my life. It fails with almost holy intention, an upward spiral, a thought in the night, l'appel du vide. The void has no color, it has no shade. It is not like a tree. Here lies dust. Here lies dust, reads a mausoleum. Coffin for an ibis, reads a placard in a college museum. A friend turns 47, a friend turns 35. We see wild turkeys in the graveyard, a few too many to bother to count. A word turns sideways to clear a narrow passage. Years turn, revolving doors. I was 11 when my father was 44. Now I am. A throwaway joke that kills. The day turns silvery gold behind its clouds, like crossing paths with Satan. A thought thrills the mind. Life is evil. Life Poem 2. Beginnings of years, each random thing is an augur. I sleep unwell. Is that life now? Make tiny adjustments to furniture. Poem is a 4-room house. We walk several miles, see many animals at the zoo. What the living do? They pace around, eat, content enough to be bored. A moon bear, a Bactrian camel. This elephant stands there so casually, one back leg crossed. She's 39. She's younger than me. She so enchanted, entrenched with time. I want time that deep, a trench, an intractable arrow. I want not to know what I want. I want to want nothing past tomorrow. Personality. Wrote nothing, thought nothing also. A day passed with no folded corners. Elsewhere, there's evidence of 5 little deer in a sunfield. One, partly hidden, faces me, as if I took the picture. Stance like a dance step, minor reversal, indifference to time. Maybe I'm the princess of darkness, wretched like Kafka. They see me, but I couldn't read, couldn't write. Where was I? The field, the tulgey wood. The flora can speak to the fauna. I could be queen of the flowers, but I always do what I would. Experiment on a bird. The news comes through so slowly. Some men in an 18th century painting are going to kill a bird. A paint child can't bear to look. Bird cage empty, moon is full, and here the winter sun lights up my dust. A drafty window. A feather may fall from a throw pillow. It's time to say something outrageous, or would be, if time could come here. The bird would be a cockatiel. It would be, if 'twere a bird. Slow is the news in God's emergency room. Paint dries on time. Nowhere goes the cockatiel. Time's not now or here. Caravaggesque. There's a scene in The Hustler you once heard described in another movie. There's a hole in the future. Hope rises up. Hope you don't want. Years pass. You see The Hustler. The scene floats out from the screen like a soul leaves a body, a memory of someone else's dream. Sunday now, train in the mist. You look at the cars on the other bridge. Is life always like this, doubled, removed, and thus understood? As in a famous painting of the Magdalene, her candle positioned to watch itself flame in a mirror, which also is framed. It also is paint. And I'm going to end on this one. It's called You Wake in the Night. And there's no one else alive. Only you hear the cry of the owl. You'd counted on this, you realize, on the mind keeping count. Now you're driving in the pines, the barren pines, where it's always the middle of time. You're the bearer of the fucking human condition. This is the dark wood you heard of. The night world, your only life, the unimaginable suffering you really can't imagine when it's over. The day intervenes, and then it repeats. You go through it again. There's always another, forever. It's madness. It doesn't matter.
It's really wonderful to be here, and thank you to everyone who organized and made this event possible, and thank you to everyone for coming. I do want to point out a little thing about the book that I'm going to be reading from, because the designer's in the room, Bella Bennett, and the literal better half of this project is also here, Stephen Prosky, who did illustrations like this, and it's really wonderful to have both of them here after working on this for a long time together. This first poem is One Night Only. The muse man looks askance as his audience enters, single spotlight dangling, lighting only his hands. Outstretched in unassuming pose, while as observers strain to see him, murmur and sit, but stay encoded. For one night only, in glittering Moscow, a pre-told visit from the devil himself. The light rises, and all gasp in recognition. A figure revealed bearing the face of a dearest friend. Impossible. I knew it. The bastard. By God, is that my dog? Hysterics turn to weeping, pleading, noise rising like water, and no one notices the devil's quiet exit. All stumble out to find their umbrella stolen, then duck under awnings to catch cabs in the rain. This next one is called Underpass. The queen of I-90 whips by us with semi-trucks for roller skates, a highway her derby flat track. She bends for the wind-up, then clean clears the overpass and sticks a rolling land. When she takes the off-ramp to pick sneakers off the power lines, she swaps restaurant signs for sticks and sticks them like sandwich toothpicks. One night at Trey's house, she came scratching at the roof with long acrylics, said with eyes the size of F-150 wheels she couldn't catch him, watched him drop off the overpass into traffic, and how sorry. She skated off. Weeks later, I found her hunched by the high school cement slab for a nail file. I sat on the concrete beside her until the sky down clapped open and she climbed up and out. And this one is called Beginner Words. I ask you how long it's been snowing. Didn't notice till now. Been burrowed in Dracula, illustrated version splayed open on my lap. In chapter 1, omens come as Hungarian words, decoded with a polyglot glossary. Urdug, devil. Pokol, hell. Pokol always memorable because pok means spider, like some great awakening quip. A spider hung over hell. Urdug was a bar we frequented in Budapest. During those years, I taught Hungarian history, and before I could ever order a beer, I learned the words for war, occupation, invasion. I call a friend from Transylvania. She says, I must speak quietly. There is a man, how do you say, refugee, sleeping on the sofa bed. And can you that believe? He didn't like the pogacha I bought. She laughs. I got a picky one. Outside, the snow falls gray, color of a wolf coat. Softly now, like slow drifting ash. Faychild. Sunprint on tile, percolator whistle. You, crayons in hand, hum along. The tune rivers with washer, traffic rumble, summons the music of our little sphere. Brow furrowed, small fist, your careful scribble forms tight tunnels, perhaps to the wilds. For all I know, portaling to Paralands, your swing kick song, a token at the veil. You tell me tall tales, which somehow sound like memory. This one is called Ophanim. Bull cold dawn on fallow fields. A line of poplars comb the sky. Miles from home and wishing we were alone, but there are eyes everywhere, bursting from bark knots and barley holes. Tired of their irises, we picked 1,000 eyes, sewed them into furrows, rolled them off our fingers, until our whimsy grew Ophanim, hover wings with blinking eyes. We covered ours and found the way home, led by sun-grown guardians, the wind chiding. When we've plugged the meter for eternity, they'll flutter at the windows. We'll turn and see them wink. Sunrise. I slipped out this morning, left you asleep with dawn slanting across your face. I walked into a wash of gold while you were in bed, snoring, wrapped in the entire duvet. You hoarded it all night. I strolled along the beach, feet cold on the shell-peppered sandbar. My feet are used to being cold, exposed to the draft in our bedroom when you leave me with no duvet. I went to see the sunrise expand over the stone-cut shore and to get first pick of the sea glass. It is my trophy for getting up early. I walked out to the jetty, badgered with the shells and stones. Salt water splashed in my mouth when I yawned. This happened twice. And when you wake, you will be in the kitchen. The sun and coffee will be warm. You so sweet in your slippers. But you must look at my sea glass and tell me it is extraordinary. How else will I know that it was all worth it? And this last one I'm going to say from memory, and this is for my Auntie Joyce. This is called the Grandmother Poem. Once I tried to write a grandmother poem because everyone else was doing it, and by everyone I mean poets my age. So in a moment of weakness or desire, I want to be a poet my age. My grandmother went into a poem. But she's quick, and pretty soon she was out the door. And I didn't put a door in my poem. She made one for herself, which is relatively unsurprising. So I sat alone in my poem and I thought, maybe this is a grandfather poem. My grandfathers never met, but they both played piano. So I dragged up a piano bench and I settled in for a good ragtime ballad poem. They just sat there quietly, which was a bit unnerving. But who can blame them? Because the acoustics in this poem are atrocious. So I sat in my poem and I thought, if this isn't a grandfather poem, then maybe it's a Nana poem. And if it's a Nana poem, then Auntie Joyce should be there also. So I cleaned out all the ice from the freezer for just one wine and one Budweiser, left that one window open, put the corner lamp on, the sound of waves. I put all of us there, actually, halfway through a card game, sitting funny because we're sunburnt, eating shortbread cookies. It's so nice, maybe I should sketch it or photograph it instead. After all, real people don't belong in my poetry. Before you go, could you tell them they can go to bed? They're getting tired, and I think Auntie Joyce will head up first. And while you're at it, could you show me the way out? My grandmother made a doorway earlier, and I'd like to find it. Thank you.
This is not a poem. Maybe it's maybe it's better than what I've written. It might turn into one. Depends on how much you guys are frowning. Hey, this is wonderful. How lovely it is to be here reading with all of these absolutely brilliant poets. And then the room, of course, is filled with amazing, brilliant poets, many of whom I absolutely love and admire. So I want to really thank Christina, of course, and Mary for all the work that they do to make this a place that we can be here together. So I'm going to open up with a poem just from this chapbook, which is sort of one long poem, but I won't read the entire thing. But the poem is called, "If Your Lungs Are Skied, Make the Scar Song Echo Until All the Winged Things Bleed Your Poetry." You could tell I was like really getting into some death metal, post-rock sort of titles there. But so I'll just read section 3. Failure, reflect, revision. Metacognition, the dream stuff of rhetoric, while the bad manners of sleep barely open an eye. Drift into revelries of some future clown summer party, bass gutting the ribs, floor sticky with spilled thrill, while waves crest white the horizon. An attempt to get to a version of ourselves other than the one here. To construct a cement wall, because yours felt monolith in that otherwise yawn of morning. Spectacle of graffiti, an attempt to give back what it was given. Too much in a rush to receive. It's okay. A garden unattended remains a reminder of a garden attended. The fantasy of future self. Caught midlife in mid-laugh, or maybe I'm just letting you off easy, as it must be something singular to not ever hear the whines of your ghost you're dragging. I'll bear your burdens, and sister, I'll sing to your ghost. The moth of your month has for a long time been the month mothing your haunting, to adorn ourselves as imagined others, to eventually end in evening, gorging on so many ordinary things we were denied. Because I'm thinking of my thinking, today revising my emotions, restitching my failures. I will song it for the both of us. You never have to. Self at an end. I regret my regret. So I actually just had a book come out the day before Valentine's. It's called I Heart the Cult Years, Empty Empire of Aftersong. It's a really weird book. It's kind of like a speculative poetry book about an imaginary cult. So it's really weird. So lean into that. Yeah, you know. I just had to take a little bit of all of them, you know. Because, you know, imagination. Got to write a book somehow. So, and this is Leap Day, so seems like a good day for some spells. So I'm going to read some spells. I don't think they work, but if they do, don't tell me. I don't want to be liable. This is called Spell to See the Deceitful. And in this bottle, crushed bone of bird, song sealed and looping onto and into itself. And in this bottle, clipped nails while you slept, tiny jagged moons no longer to wraith the hereafter. And in this bottle, 3 pings of lashes from mid-flutter, I a bit of violence you will survive. And in this bottle, ripped petals to scent trapped song and green stems to brown and beg decay. And in this bottle, deep, deep dirt dug from under earth mixed with tree sweat from chainsaw lick. And in this bottle, tree bark, breath, blood, roots, twisted and intertwined with hair while you were absent. And in bottle, skin, and scabs, and abdomen, beetle, and buzz. And onto this bottle carved a face that bears your likeness. And onto this bottle carved and X'd out a face that bears your likeness. And on to this bottle carved, X'd out, broken body of no use that bears your likeness. And onto this bottle, pin dot darkness, speckle and splatter, and curve and bear a likeness to you. And this dark mirror ascension, you forsaken body. Spell to rid the malicious malcontents. What are we going to do? It was COVID for a long time. You just had to watch documentaries and write poems at best, right? And those were the good days, right? Most days it was just really a struggle, right? I mean, I think for a lot of us. So, spell to rid the malicious malcontents. 3 to 3 unto me, salted water. Uncross me. 3 to 3 unto me, salted water, uncross me. 3 to 3 from leaf to trunk, broken bark to build me. 3 to 3 from leaf to trunk, broken bark to build me. 3 to 3 from leaf to trunk, broken bark to build me. 3 to 3, from leaf to trunk, broken bark to build me. Pass through the dragon's blood, stagger step, then still. Breathe in, pass through the dragon's blood. Pass through the dragon's blood, stagger step, then still. Breathe out, pass through the dragon's blood. Verbena, salt, lemon, bay leaf, rose stem, thorn intact. This precious plate is your fate. Verbena, salt, lemon, bay leaf, rose stem, thorn intact. Shattered precious plate, you may not pass. Splinters removed from skin, cat whisker, fox whisker, eyes closed, we see all around. Lavender-soaked tree bark, eyes closed, we see plainly in the dark. The power of all things is in us. We are the harmony. I and I am the harmony. You will not cross us. 3 to 3 unto me, salted water, uncross me. 3 to 3 unto me, salted water, uncross me. 3 to 3 unto me, salted water, uncross me. 3 to 3 unto me, salted water, uncross me. So this book is like a lot of vispo and a lot of like kind of really longer poems, but it's got this one really short poem that I'll read. The Passions of the Cult. People will call it love and kill for it. People will fear it and kill against it. And I should mention, there are lots of books and free things over there, so when this is all over, please do go over there and take a look. I think I maybe just have time for one last thing. Yeah, I'll read this one. I'll read this poem. It was published a while ago in this magazine called Typo, which I think some of you guys know. It was sort of the final issue. The magazine was edited by Adam Clay and Matt Hendrickson, and next month Matt will have been passed away for, I guess, 2 years. So I want to read this in his memory. His books were published here in Boston. Jonica Black Ocean is the publisher. And there's so much wonderful ghost and beauty in the room that I just wanted to sort of shout something for Matt wherever he may be. And the poem is actually called Painting October, but let's just call it Painting Leap Day, because we can just change things. Or I mean, I might call, Alas, this seat is reserved. Here we go. Oh, another day of image consumption. Fashion show graveyard. You wore your ghost better than me and my excessive feelings, a stitch too much for a green morning lake that respects silence, and here I am, existing to ballyhoo, while the birds blabber on south of hello, how we hum and hear the three-chord roar, dedicated to the away stream, gushing into ocean, intermediate morning, and what now do doctors say? My throat, your bones, the spread, but not the seep, haircut or hair loss, lost in lone times, nothing, repeat in scratched yellow, the days, stretched until night goes eternal, no longer hello murmur, symphony, low fade, nature, hum, not sure, not how to say so long, how goodbye. I guess when all the witnesses go extinct and the voices are left to themselves in an atmosphere yet not known. My friends hate writing elegies. They're too busy to bother with death or its constant cousin, grief. They're rushing machines, always abuzz. Every day the finches crowd the shrubs and the trite trill. Why write elegies? There is no crisis. We exist, the internet eager and always on, always burning. So they worship away or lean in, whisper into ears the latest salacious gossip about so and so or celebrity such and such. What do they know of the sorrow behind sorrow? What they see is an orange ball asleep in a spot of sun. The shade from a maple leaf branch breaks into smears of light. What of death do they dare in ignorance which blossoms ghosts, their bones mostly sturdy, life a peppy pop song, eyes fixed out a dirty window where a black squirrel waves mischievous tail, or more visions of youth chattering into cheap coffee cups, first flowers wilting and gone unnoticed. So my friends hate writing elegies, too triggered and weighted down by all the ways their parents and presidents and patriarchy have ruined them. Or a Larkin poem, I still misty-eye to revolution, it is said, not elegies. All the systemic failures invoked to keep sufferers suffering. So many sadomasochists, no sign of equality. No one even believes in equal unless math equations. And that too has groomed its skeptics. Why write open a door desperate to be kept shut, to remain ignored? If not fighting for life, then click the light off. Let the silence permeate. A branch is a branch, no mystics, no mysteries. My father's body in the coffin, my body heavy, flat on a bed, while the day replays evening shadow of flowers, leaves departed in a slant between flesh and lilac. Time marks its elegies or not. The dead remain dead. Feelings and days they rush on with or without a poem. Flower await water to carry my landscapes, a wind, a hill, a release, or a shutting in, the crisis of self and public, attempting to bridge mourning, not exactly private or ever even over. Ignore the emailed elegies and sing in whatever voice is yours and yours alone. Thank you.
Thanks, Christina, for making this happen. It's great to be back in the Woodberry, where I whiled away so many hours in the service of nothingness, which is my favorite thing to do. Yeah. Oh, come on now. I'm going to start by reading this poem from Song X, The Death of the Author, appropriately. It's dedicated to Jane Gallup. Anybody remember Jane Gallup? Feminist post-structuralist scholar from the 80s and 90s. Kind of a big deal. Linda Nicholson, Barbara Johnson, Marge Gar, all these people I went to school on now. Nobody reads them anymore, which will be the fate of us all. She gave a lecture here in the Thompson Room at Barker Center, my first semester teaching here. And I took notes, and this is what came out. Obviously referring to Roland Barthes' famous 1968 essay. If I were a writer and dead, then how bright the sky at evening, when evening is a word for making other words. And how I would love to be dispersed across a sky, ashes thrown to the wind, and someone's beautiful eyes reducing me to a few precious details, traveling outside whatever my life had been, joining me to a future that cannot know me, except as a toy that resurrects the destroyed. If I are a writer, no longer a part of my story, but given over unseen to the birds at evensong, returning to the same life, the very same and yet different, speaking warmly with strangers at the gate, skirting the paths through the park, spying on the couples who are kissing in their sleep, a part of the larger night where everything has already happened without me. If I were a writer and dead, I would enter the room of sudden desires, the one with salty foods and glasses of whiskey, the book there where I had left it, your eyes, your voice, whatever pierces me, speeches me, even now dead, writes me. I'll read a few poems from Sunderland, and then I'm going to read a poem for Penn Creeley, marking the occasion where Fanny and Christina and I and Penn went to Bob's grave in Mount Auburn. I think that was a long time ago, 2012. Anyway, this is that's going to close the evening. Sunderland. In Sunderland, the things of Sunderland were found, then lost, broken, then mended, rebroken, left unmended. We had lived in Sunderland so long, we forgot the place. The wide sweep of its dry floodplains, the sheltering ridge of hills. What is it to weep beside an open window and believe in a child who believes in God? No one knows what the moon will do tonight, but the moon is hollow, and when you take a hammer to it, rings like a church bell no one can hear. To go into Sunderland this time of year is to go guarded against green grass and memory, upthrust stalks and haunted tobacco barns, a cool blue wind blowing down from a cool blue sky. I had gotten halfway to Sunderland when I had to pause by the side of the road. I am not permitted to tell you why, only that after a while I pressed on, weeping the name Sunderland, blinded by the name Sunderland. Radiance. This is for Sabrina Sadiq, my former colleague here at Harvard, and she was in English. I was in history and literature. She's a poet. Now she's teaching at Concord Academy. We sort of stayed in touch. Radiance. Ask the crown, the sun is without its halo today, its nimbus dimmed, its witness shrunk. Ask my sister at the river is not here. It has turned to mist and moan, the night air wending its saraband over town. To what end sings the crown, sings the moon no one can see? This train still runs to Wuhan. This train carries the pathogen of all the unwritten poems. They do not speak of hope. Their unsigned speech does not make the earth more green, but asks the stone for one more day inside the music of the bones. Ask the river of the crown, invisible, will you join the moon when it is full, riding radiant midnight foam? The poem has slid beneath the water, and the angel on the bridge smokes a joint alone. A single hour crowns a silent gong. Ask this silence. Is silence only what of blue remains? Word over nothing. Lone note returning. Lone note sustained. An elegy in a Changsha courtyard. I was living in China for a year, teaching at Hunan Normal University, when I got the news that my old friend Kevin Killian had passed. So this is for Kevin. I refer now not to his absence, but his multiple presences that shall always accompany me. For how can we promise to make amends or ever not comprehend that loss is all around us always, nor are we ever out of it? They say the sun machine is going down. Let it go down. Let it sink below the horizon. Tell the moon to come instead. For now you are Orphic, and all the stones and sparrows are listening. Now, my friend, you have become the true and total morpheme, the one we cannot say. In heaven, they tell me, there are words for everything, but I do not think I believe them. And I'll close with this before I completely lose it. Mount Auburn in May for Penn Creeley. Afterwards, there wasn't anything. No double suns at sunset, the ground smoldering. Just this weird, implacable, perfect quiet, full of rain and not full of anything. A voice across the green saying, "Hey," and then a sparrow drops in a blur of shivers. We were talking by the grave, the sunlight catching each smooth rock set atop the stone's ledge. You said his ashes were placed in a small box. The ashes were draped in the shawl you threw in. The master and his dog mixed at last to soft sif. And when we looked up, the trees were blooming, the sky all white with balloons. And when we went down to the river singing, but it was not finale, only the sky, only the day breaking open on the roads as pages, each aloft, writing back to us from the end of time. Thank you.